Hi, Narelle. So I will just give an introduction to our audience about you. And I must say that the kind of body of work you have in the past decades of experience, it's huge and it's extremely commendable. So welcome everybody. And we are live on the Bridges Facebook page with Narelle Gosstray. She's from Australia. And let me just introduce her. She is a lifetime sportswoman. She has grown up in Victoria playing basketball, tennis, volleyball, softball, indoor cricket, and much more. And a late convert to baseball. She went on to represent Australia as player, coach, administrator, and technical official. And she has also worked in the government department of sport and recreation for 10 years. And she has worked closely with sports to support and develop through education advice and funding basically. And Narelle was also the vice president of Women's Sport Australia for 2 years and is a member of the World Baseball Softball Confederation Women's Baseball Commission. And but you know, the interesting part about Narelle is she is extremely passionate about gender equity, and she's using sport to influence social change, which is my area of interest for this conversation. So Narelle, welcome to the bridge. How are you doing?
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be chatting to you today.
Yeah. So, Narelle, you know, when I was just simply browsing about you, and what I really liked about, there is one statement which is written on the cover image of your LinkedIn profile, which says, Jugaad, the art of finding a solution any way you can. And, you know, I was enthralled to see that it's an Indian word, and we often use it, ki Jugaad, do Jugaad and do this, and let's do that. So how did you fell in love with this word?
So last year I spent 3 months in Bangalore, and while I was there, I got involved with the local baseball club, the Phoenix Sports Club, and I was we were watching a game, and I was sitting there, and the umpire was at the back of the plate, and he went to wipe the plate off, which is what umpires do. And whenever I've seen that, I've seen them have, the umpires have a proper brush and it wipes the plate off so the pitcher can see. And this umpire pulled a paintbrush out of the back of his pocket and wiped the plate clean with his paintbrush. And I just was like, oh my God, that's hilarious. That's so funny. What a great, initiative. And one of the men involved with the club said to me, "Oh, that's what we call Jugaad." And I was like, "That's awesome." And he explained it to me, and I went and had a little bit of a look about it. And I just thought that was just it kind of really summed up how I go about what I do, is just basically finding a way to get something done. You don't need, whether you have the money or the resources, you make it happen. And it was actually really funny yesterday. My boss at work, we walked into his office, and he's got a swivel chair, and he had a book sitting under one of the legs of his chair, because the wheel had broken. And I just looked down and I said, "That's Jugaad. Find a way any way you can." It was just really, really fun. I love the word. So yeah, that's where it came about.
Yeah, that's 100% true. And we Indians are, we always figure out ways to make things happen. And
yeah,
that's a very optimistic way of living life. And we are fortunate that you really like the concept. So let's talk a bit about, your childhood. You come from a family where your parents and your brothers are also into sport. So how was it? And you have played other sports before landing up on baseball. So how was it like growing up and like changing from cricket and then tennis and then finally baseball?
Yeah. So I was very lucky. We lived in a very small country town. So we were able to get around to all the different sports very easily. And my parents were super supportive. They would be able to drive me around. The traffic where we were is nothing like India or Bangalore. You can drive 10 Ks.
Bangalore is pathetic in traffic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so not ours. So we had a pretty hectic lifestyle. So my two older brothers played basketball and AFL. My mother played tennis and basketball and netball. My father played cricket and basketball, and then I played all these sports, and so did my brothers. But it was basically a life was revolved around sport growing up, which is I'm so grateful for. You couldn't ask for a better way of growing up. Yeah.
That's really nice. And you tell me one thing, Narelle. Why do you uh, so passionate about gender equity and sport to influence social change? What is that drive inside you which keeps you motivated towards this cause?
I think there's a number of things. I think when I was much younger, I didn't question when I was told I couldn't do something because I was a girl. I grew up and again, I talk about AFL. You know, I hope people know the Australian rules football. As a young girl, boys played football, girls played netball, but we would go out at half time of the field and go and kick a footy with the boys, and we were just as good as the boys. But I never ever questioned why I couldn't play football. I never questioned why I couldn't play cricket. You know, I played cricket, backyard cricket with my brothers and father and mother for many years, but I never questioned it. We played basketball, which was always a dual gender sport. And then a little bit later on, I wanted to join the police force. I wanted to be a dog handler. And I was told I couldn't be a dog handler because I wasn't strong enough to handle the dogs. I went, okay, no worries. You know, I'll go look for some other career. And now I look back on that, and I think it was when I found baseball. I wandered past the baseball field one day, and I was looking out. It was a men's game, but there was a woman playing on the field, and somebody looked over and said, you know, why aren't you playing? And I went, well, I don't know. No one's asked me. And then I started playing baseball, and all of a sudden I started finding people going, oh yeah, you must really enjoy softball. And I was like, no, it's baseball. Why do you think I play softball when I play baseball? Do you think I don't know the game I'm playing? So I think it started to evolve in my mid-20s, and I just started getting really frustrated that people didn't recognize that girls could play baseball. And then it sort of clicked to me that, well, all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of other things that girls supposedly aren't allowed to do. And so it evolved over a period of time, and it culminated a few years ago when I worked with other people from Baseball Australia and some good friends to create Diamonds in the Rough, which was to show Indonesian girls that they could not only play baseball if they wanted to play baseball, but they could do other things. So they could be a nurse or a mother, or a nurse and a mother, or a doctor. So yeah, there's so many things that influenced that, but it really did build up for a number of years. And then all of a sudden I realized, I was like, oh, I am really passionate about this. So yeah.
Yeah. You know, you are in a country where gender equity is pretty advanced, and as compared to other countries where you have worked, like Indonesia and India, and you have seen closely the kind of, especially the Indonesian girls, and then which also brought you to India through the campaign. So you tell me how it started, the campaign, and what is the impact which you have created through this campaign in both the countries, India and Indonesia.
Yeah, so Indonesia, I was part of the Australian women's national team staff at that point in time, and we were fortunate enough to receive funding from our federal government to create the program called Diamonds in the Rough. And the idea was that we used our Australian women's baseball squad members to go to Indonesia and basically spread the word that women play baseball. And at that time, Indonesian girls were, I think, allowed to play baseball sort of up until about age 14. And then 14, they were either told they couldn't play at all, or they had to go and play softball. So we we created this program. We partnered up with the No More campaign that I now work for, which is around ending domestic and family violence. So we partnered with them, and we went over and we decided it wasn't going to just be a sport program, that it's about leadership and mentoring. And we got over there, and we delivered this program. And the first day, first time we were there weren't very many people. We maybe had 12 girls, and then it grew, the momentum grew. And one of the programs, we were expecting like 15 girls, and we got 50, and it was amazing. And we had a big indoor facility, and we had our Emeralds players, and I was like, okay, well, we've got 50 girls. What are we going to do with 50 girls? And we were able to deliver this program. And then, there was a lot of people on the ground in Indonesia who were really passionate about helping these girls be allowed to play. And, there's a shout out to Eka in Bali, and Max and Wiwi Nia in Bandung, and then Mr. Jung, who manages the whole of women's baseball in Indonesia now. They took what we had started, and as a local people, they then developed and continued to support those girls. And then a couple of years ago, Indonesia brought their first girls team to Australia, and they played in our national competition for under 16s, which is a huge step. And the girls came over, and they not only did they really do really well on the field, they displayed all the things that we went over there to teach them about, which was leadership and being team players and discipline and all of those things. They just loved it. And then I have to say, I'm really excited that just on, I think it was November the 2nd, Indonesia has actually announced officially that girls are allowed to play baseball. So I feel like 5 years of work from myself and a lot of other people, the head coach of the Emeralds at the time, Simone Wern, Anthony Bennett, who was working in Indonesia, and he's now an MLB coach in China. There's so many people, and there's one other, I have to, Paul Mead, who he was our strategist and did great work. But 5 years on, now girls are allowed, like they're actually allowed to play baseball. And Indonesia is going to be putting girls baseball into their PON tournament, which is their multinational, multi-sport tournament in 2024. So I'm really excited about that. And that's the first time I've actually spoken about it. So yeah.
That's an incredible victory. I mean, in terms of gender equity, and that's extremely great. You are doing commendable work, and we from India would love to be a part of anything which you are doing, and we can be of help to you. So, Narelle, let's take the conversation ahead. And you have mentioned about your concept, which is called throw like a girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why why was it needed? Why did you feel that, okay, let me take this statement, and you have spoken about it? So just share your experience with our audience about this thing, throw like a girl.
Sure. Yeah. So when we did Diamonds in the Rough, it was a really big project, and we needed a lot of people to make it happen, and a lot of space as well. Baseball, like cricket, takes up a lot of space. So I knew that we needed to modify it to make it easier to deliver in places where that we didn't have the space. But throw like a girl, it came about because in Australia, saying somebody throws like a girl is an insult. And, basically it means you're very weak, you can't throw, you throw like a girl, you run like a girl. It's a big insult. So I wanted to flip that around, and, it's now throw with an exclamation mark, because you throw like a girl. And now you throw like somebody who's been taught how to throw, because girls growing up generally don't get those opportunities to be taught the motor skills that they need. And this is a generalization. Obviously, there's a lot of amazing female athletes out there. But in terms of throwing skills, and girls just don't get as many opportunities to be running around, throwing a ball, catching a ball, hitting a ball. So Throw Like a Girl, we thought we'd bring it back from the whole of baseball, and we'll still include some of that, but it was just to bring it into that small space where we can teach some girls some skills. And again, there's the physical skills, but at the end of the day, really, it's about those personal empowerment, the courage, the leadership, and all of those things. So the idea of that is, again, we use Australian athletes, and we were looking at potentially doing that as a cricket and baseball combination, and then also engaging with Indian female cricket players as mentors. And when I was in Bangalore last year, I got the opportunity to go to a cricket facility and run some baseball drills with the cricket girls, which was really cool as well. And they really, they embraced it and they loved it. So I think it's got a real opportunity just to, really bring it back into those basic skills, and then, give the girls the opportunities to play.
So, Narelle, I'm also based out of Bangalore, and next time, whenever you are coming to Bangalore, please let me know, and we would love to host you here. So, talking about the girl cricket player, so one of my team member is also a cricket player, and a hardcore one, and she often shares her experience of, the obstacles and the hurdles which female sports person face. I mean, I'll give you like small examples. We don't have a decent changing room for the players,
Yeah.
and it's a very small thing, and it's like a basic human right, and we have to. It's unfortunate that still we are in the 20th century and we have to talk about this, and but then that is how it is, and we are just putting in effort to improvise the situation. That's what our effort. And so as you have also mentioned about the project Diamonds in the Rough, and it was the largest project you had mentioned. So how is there any plan of extending that project, or what was the impact of that project, if I may ask?
Yeah, so the impact is definitely those girls in Indonesia, multiple outcomes of that. One of the things is that those girls in Indonesia, a lot of them still are connected to our Emeralds players, through social media and Facebook. And I chat to our Emeralds every now and again, and they say, oh yeah, I was talking to so-and-so from Indonesia. So we continue to see this link between the Indonesian girls and our mentors and leaders for the program. And one of the things about girls developing and growing, whether it's in sport or their careers, you have to see it to be it. That's something that we hear a lot. That if you don't see the female role models, then how do you know that that's something that you can become? So that's one of the really exciting things, is that our girls stay connected to them. One of the other big things that came out of that was when the first time we went over, and we actually, our women's team played a local men's team, and this wasn't our full national team. It was a squad. It was a development squad, and we played one of the men's teams. And we started out and we were losing by like 6 runs, and it was sort of like, oh, of course you would lose because you're a women's team playing a men's team. And part of that, I think, that we were losing is that I don't know whether it was deliberate, but we actually got sent an hour and a half in the wrong direction, leaving our hotel, before we had to come back another hour and a half straight back past the hotel, and an hour and a half the other way in this tiny little bus, 12-seater bus with 15 people on it in the heat with no aircon. And maybe that was a kind of deliberate thing to see, make sure we lose. But we came back and we won the game. I think it was 14-8 or something like that. And after the game, spoke to he was a 68-year-old Indonesian man, very traditional Indonesian man. And I asked him about how he felt when he was asked to play against us. And he said, look, not quite like this, but basically he said, shame. He said it was shame to think that a women's team might play a men's team and beat them. And I was like, oh, well, that's a bit, kind of, yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that. And he said, but what I really want to do now that you've been is we'd like to play you again. And so, they went from shame to you know, okay, this is a serious competition now. And then the next thing he said was, and I'd like you to work with our pitchers to help make them better.
Wow.
And that,
Wow.
yeah, yeah,
That's superb.
that was the big thing, is that they went from shame to understanding that this wasn't about men and women. This was about baseball and a sport, and that everybody had something to offer. We were on the field, we're all people that catch a ball and throw a ball, and it's not men and women. And I think that was a really big outcome of that. And then the fun part of that is we did play them again. We actually played them twice. So we won that first time, we lost the second time, and the third time was a draw. So everybody went home happy.
Wow, that's in fact such kind of win is not just a win. It's a stepping stone for actual social change which is there. So
Yeah.
you, Narelle, what is your observation about India? And see, I mean, we are from India, so we have a perspective towards our country, and we have been brought up here. But you coming from there and coming from a country where the gender gap is not that much as compared to our country. So, what has been your observation? That is my first question. And what do you think we can do to just bridge the gap there?
Yeah. So I guess my first observation is the people of India are beautiful people, and I enjoyed my time. Male, female, everybody was really welcoming, and I really loved my time there. And I can't wait to come back. Yeah. Well, let's hope that will happen sometime in the next, how long. Um, Obviously, and not to beat around the bush around this, there are a lot of differences, as you said, about gender equity. But I think it's just there's a thing, I guess, the thing we call the flywheel, where something that starts off very slow and it starts to gain momentum. And even if you watch like Indian cricket, Indian women's cricket, I haven't been right through. I've started reading the book about Indian women's cricket, and years and years ago, it was just so awful for them. They had the same passion as the men, but they either weren't allowed to play or they weren't allowed on the fields, and all of those things that we hear. And it's starting, they're starting to get better and better. And you're right, there are still obstacles. But I think one of the things is that we just have to keep calling it out. When we see an obstacle or somebody deliberately preventing or obstructing women from moving forward, we need to call it out. And we need to find the people, and particularly the men that want to see the change. And whether we like it or not, men actually have to help ourselves. I've grown up, as I said, like I've played baseball for a long time, and there's been so many men that have been super supportive of me and what I do and what I can do, and eternally grateful for them. But there's obviously also a lot of other men who just go, no, we don't want to change. We like it the way it is. We don't want to have to split the fields and have to share the fields or put extra effort over here. So I think the key is to find a group of men that want to make the change, find those supporters and that believe in it, and then work with them and just build the momentum and build the following until those naysayers, dinosaurs that feel like it was better the old way, until we can just make them obsolete. And it's not going to happen overnight, but every day you do see those little things and you see a win, and then that's what keeps you going, I guess. Yeah,
I 100% agree with you. Yeah, Narelle, I 100% agree with what you said. And there are both kind of men. Yeah, that's true. And in fact, not even in other avenues, other areas, excluding sport in India, it's more or less same. There is lack of encouragement, and even the society, it suppresses the desire of a girl to be ambitious. I mean, being ambitious is not very much appreciated, especially in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. places. So yeah, let's see. I think the journey has begun, and all of us together, we will do good. Let's be hopeful for that. And
Yeah.
so let's.
Just one more thing on that is that I think with part of that change, with the ones that aren't interested in seeing that change, I think they fear about what they're going to lose. And the reality about when women are involved in sport and involved in businesses and companies is that it brings a diversity of thought that actually makes things better. And I think that's where we have to focus on is, it's not just women being allowed to do things because women should be, but we've got a lot to add. We've, in Australia, at least, we're 50% of the population. So we represent 50% of the population. So if you're in sales, you want to know how a woman's mind thinks, maybe you should have a woman in sales to understand that. And so we bring that diversity as, again, in Australia, as does younger people. You need younger people, you need older people, you need people from all types of cultural backgrounds. And that brings that beautiful network of diversity that then, as I said, makes everything better. So I think it's really important. It's not just, women doing things for the sake because they're women. So, yeah.
That's 100% true. In fact, even in our company, our organization, the team which we have, we try to keep it gender balanced. And we, India is a country which has multiple cultures. Even the different state, each state has a different culture in India, a different language and different food habits and different, generally the social framework is such, but it's a lovely experience to work with a diverse team. So I totally understand what you are saying. Thank you. And so, Narelle, we will wrap up the conversation in a bit. Before that, I want you to give a message to our audience, whoever is watching, and especially the girls. What will be that one piece of advice from your side which you feel it will be knowledge for lifetime?
Oh, just one.
No, you can go on. I won't mind. You can go on. Yeah.
I think I'll go with a statement or a thought that I came up with when I was living in India. So I was there getting some medical treatment, Ayurvedic medical treatment. So I was there on my own for 3 months, although I made some very, very good friends and I had a very good doctor. One of my friends was going through a bit of a tough time, and I was as well. So I just came up with a saying, is that you're not weak because you fall down. You are strong because you get back up again. And for me, that's you fall down all the time. You fail at something, something goes wrong, you have a bad day, personal things happen, and when things go wrong, it's not because you're bad or you're not okay. It's just the strength is when you get back up again. So yeah, that's my thing. You're not weak because you fall down. You're strong because you get back up.
True. Yeah. So I think all of us, all of the viewers who are watching this should just write this quote in a piece of paper by Narelle Gosstray and just put it in your bedroom or wherever you wake up in the morning and you see that first thing. It's extremely inspiring. So thank you, Narelle. So before we proceed now, so what we these days, I mean the conversation around baseball, we are talking about it, Bridge is talking about it, and we are bringing stories which are not yet out there in media. And it was surprising for me to know that it is similar to a sport of cricket, which is in the blood of Indians, and we are extremely good at it, right? Mm-hmm. And but for some reason baseball has not gained the popularity the way it should be. And next year, I'm sure you are aware and you will be closely associated with the league which will happen next year, which is Premier League Baseball in India. And the organization which is working towards it is Dream Olympic Sports in India, here Hyderabad. So how how do you see that having a league in India on baseball, how much value will it add towards a developing baseball in the country?
Uh, so if you have it televised, obviously you're going to create the fan base. And I think for sports these days, it is a lot about creating the fan base. And you know, you've seen in the last 12 months, Major League Baseball has really started to also, you know, come into India and do a lot of work. And I have heard that they're now, I think they broadcast some of the World Series into India. So I think people, again, I go back to what I said about with the girls. You know, you can only be it if you see it. And I think if you have a league and you've got Major League Baseball and you've got, you know, all those people on the ground, like the Phoenix Baseball Club and all those other people on the ground showing people that there is baseball and this is what it looks like, I think, you know, it can only grow from there. And I really think India is on the sort of start of riding a wave in baseball. And I don't think it's ever going to take over cricket. And you know,
Yeah.
personally, I wouldn't want it to, because cricket is just so amazing in India. But it would also be amazing to see some of that talent that doesn't get utilized properly in cricket because there's only so many people that can play. You know, get them swapped over into baseball, and I think we'll see some amazing things over the next few years out of India.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure that that's the future which is there. And thank you, Narelle, for speaking to us and giving your valuable time. And just be safe and take care of yourself. And that's more for us than you, because it's the cases are increasing in India. So thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, I hope you all stay safe. We're very fortunate here, and we, you know, just all stay safe so we can go back to traveling again and sharing all our love for and passion for the game and our country. So thank you so much for having me on. It's been fun chatting.
Same here. Traveling again and you visiting India, and we would love to host you. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Thank you. Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.